So, as you can see, gas mileage is shitty. I was getting 70 on the highway by hypermiling it, but not really taking a lot of effort. This time here, I can barely get this thing to do. It's actually reading worse. And these are the injectors. These are the original injectors. They say the original part number on it, the Denso part number. But it is worse mileage than my 180,000 mile injectors, which only got me 44. As soon as I put the other injectors in, I get a lot more mileage, and I really don't drive it very, gingerly. So I was only getting about 55 or 56 on average, but I was, like I said, in the other video I made, I got up to 71 miles to the gallon. But I mean, at this point, it's something's wrong. I'm thinking the ticking engine, ticking has something to do with it, because maybe I'll get close to, over 70 on the highway, because a lot of people have said that they've gotten close to 80. So that's what I was hoping for if I had the original injectors in and they were good and they were cleaned. They listed them on eBay as new and they were from China. I waited for them because, money is a thing for me because I have so many cars. But in the end, I'm pretty sure that they are cleaned, because I would think they would come in Denso boxes and it was just basically Chinese writing on it. So I was like, oh well, but it is an original set of injectors for $21 a piece. I said, let me see, but I really don't trust a lot of injectors getting cleaned. I never did. I always had issues with them, but this is from local auto parts stores. But I haven't really, I can't really say that I bought a lot from local places over the years, in the last 20 years even, because of the internet. But, like, I almost rather, even though I've put a fortune in this car, I almost rather buy brand new Denso ones and see, but I have a hard time believing that it's the injector now. And I think that I guess what I think is the Mazda Miata injectors, or the red injectors that I put in there, basically it's just because it's getting good gas mileage, because it's making up for something, outside of what's going on, whether it's compression because of the timing chain or whatever. It's like boosting the compression, getting it back to normal, where this is only, giving a little bit of juice, if you want to say it, and it's, not doing so well, at the lowest RPMs, So I have a feeling it's something like that. It's very odd. This guy lied about this car, about so many things. It's kind of full of crap. Talked a good story, but I'm one of those guys, I will argue the price of a car, but we established on the phone one time that he wanted a certain amount of money for this car and he wasn't going to budge. And it wasn't cheap, for a car that needed a transmission. And I had laid out $1,000 on another car, and I lost that money because I didn't want to go 330 miles to pick it up, and it was red. And in the movie business, you'll never get hired with a red car. And right there, I just kind of stumbled a little bit, and when I restart it, I'll get a little tiny stumble, but I never noticed it before. Now that I've driven with those other injectors, the Miata injectors, every time I did a hot restart, so like I shut it off, and then I go get my bagel and my coffee, which I'm doing now. If I go start it up, it actually, the RPM would drop and then would catch up, but it would stall 2 or 3 times sometimes too. This one never stalled on me like this, okay, when I started it. But in the end, it was like, I want to say, I guess when I change these injectors, I'm like, every so often I do get a stumble, but it never stalls. I just thought that was just the way it ran. I have nothing to compare it to. I don't know if anybody else is in Long Island, that has one of these cars that I can kind of, get feedback from, whether it's swapping parts or whatever. If you want to try my injectors on your car, it took me like literally 3 minutes to change the injectors. But other than that, it's been crazy, That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that the compression is low because of the timing chain, and somebody, I think I almost think the timing chain is off because somebody maybe pulled a head off or did some other work to the car, and that's why it's off. I just have a hard time believing it jumped, and still runs fairly well, I have a feeling it'll jump more than a tooth, and usually it's undrivable. But it doesn't run perfect, but it runs pretty good though otherwise, you know. So like I've been driving her around, so I don't know. But like I said, one spark plug is actually like super clean. Like the last time I checked, I was checking for the compression, I realized I shouldn't have done it while with the IMA. I'm supposed to like disconnect the IMA and hold the key until it starts with the regular starter, which I might have not holded it enough. I may have not held it enough. So that's the thing, you know. So once I figure that out, because there were low readings, and I was like, what's going on here? What's this? The car runs too good to be that low. And so I put a little bit of WD-40 in, and I just said, maybe the rings are a little bit low, but when it runs, that should be what the compression is. Now, I don't have a problem doing that normally, but, being that I think somebody actually worked on it, and it like when things don't break down normally, like they normally should, you're not going to get the same symptoms. And this is my life. My whole life, people have brought me cars. Mike, the car's broken. Yeah, a lot of people touched it. And then I end up finding out like 90% of cars are because of 50% of mechanics that don't know what they're doing. And I admit I don't know what I'm doing with this car. But in the end, it's like I'm learning and I care. So like when you care about somebody's car, in general, you'll get it fixed. But my own car, this caring is costing me money. And I'm actually not that caring. I'm just trying to change parts to get ahead, because I'm like, they're not that much. It's just collectively I've put a lot of money into it. And like I said, I bought another car for $1,000. I lost that. So I bought it. It was supposed to be $2,000. Must have given another $1,000. I never bought it. So I opted for the gray car, and has a lot of issues. So that being said, I'll make this video end now, and I'm gonna give this link to the guys on Insight Central and see what they say. Let's hope somebody thinks I'm right, and if they are right, where the hell do I get a tensioner? Because the tensioner is, I can get the rest of the the wearing parts on the timing chain, but I heard some people say like, oh, these timing chains never wear, and then other people say, hey, look at this timing chain, I'm changing it, and I'm like, what? So, and it looks like you have to pull the engine out to do it, and I was like, oh god, I hope this is not the case. So being that you can take the head off without changing the timing chain, I have a feeling that somebody has something off. I don't know if the head was actually done, but it's just when things go wrong, it's throws you off, and especially when I can get 70 miles to the gallon on the highway with a different injector, and the car's not slow by any means either, so I'm just like shocked how many good things are on something that's presumably bad, because there's no reason for original injectors to get that kind of mileage, and it's getting the same mileage as my old injectors. So I don't know if it's just bad injectors and I got a tick in the engine, or I have a timing that's off, and the other injectors that pump more gas initially make up for that, and the stumble is because it's just giving too much, and I actually get a code. I'm getting 56 miles to the gallon, and I get a code for running too rich. So, and then that EGR swap that I done in the other video, I'm back to the original EGR valve, but the original EGR valve definitely worked with the original injectors and the Miata injectors, but I put the other EGR valve from that Honda Accord that I modified. It didn't work at all with the Miata injectors, because it ended up throwing the EGR code. If I put these injectors, it doesn't throw the EGR code. So that's kind of weird too. So, I mean, obviously I'm going to have to break down and probably get one of these, but I'd like to make an educated guess without spending a ton of money. And I don't have a problem with buying parts and trying out, because I learned. I learned the way the car runs differently. I have a weird way of doing things that not everybody agrees with or whatever. I got recently I got a new scanner, and it failed the EGR test, but it's funny because the new one didn't fail, but it gave a code. So, but it's the wrong one, So, but somebody else that put the same EGR valve and didn't have a problem. But if the timing chain is off, all that will go out the door, you know. So this is something, you know, definitely to think about. So like I said, I'm going to upload this to YouTube. I'm going to add the link to the listing I put on Insight Central, and maybe it's, you know, because I'm talking about everything I'm saying, people will understand where I'm coming from with this car. All right, thanks for watching.